Nice to see everybody. It's nice to see everybody. I've been feeling a lot of gratitude lately. Sometimes we have the sense of like, oh, I'm going to go to Nebraska Zen Center and I'm going to practice at Nebraska Zen Center. But it's becoming abundantly clear to me that we create Nebraska Zen Center. It's all of us together creating this amazing practice, this ancient practice. So we're all participating in it. We're all co-creating it together. Even if you're here for the first time and you're like, I don't know what's going on, you're creating this too. You're participating in this. It's so nice sometimes during a talk, I'll hear the birds in the backyard. It's a good call. It's a literal call, but it's also a call to return to our natural spaciousness. We might also think that the bird is calling out there. But in fact, the bird is calling right here. We're so much bigger than we think we are. We're participating in something huge. You are not it. In truth, it is you. It is you. This is part 4. This is the talk that doesn't end.
Is there part 5?
To be determined. It seems likely. And to bring folk up to speed, I really wanted to talk about this in one way in particular. This is a way that I'm really emphasizing it. That reality, capital R reality, and I've heard people say, well, capital R, aren't you thingifying? Of course. Yeah, we're thingifying. So as we thingify, let's not thingify, you see? So capital R reality is something that can be engaged with, and it can relieve our suffering. That it can be engaged with, we can call to it, and so-called it. You see how words, they don't do the trick, but they help us, they give us a feeling. Can respond and provide nourishment, ease, relief from our suffering. So in the call, as I've said over and over again, there is the response. And sometimes, we train to discern that response. I'm like, well, I'm calling, there's no response. We train to discern that response. The response is there. The response is there. I really enjoy Fukan Zazengi. It presents us with this paradox immediately. The way is originally perfect and all-pervading. How could it be contingent on practice and realization? The way is basically perfect and all-pervading. That's an alternate translation. Or fundamentally. What is the use of traveling around to practice? Here and now. Right here, right now. And Dogen goes on to say, a hair's breadth deviation and you are out of tune. Actually, that's the song of the Jewel Mirror of Samadhi. Dogen says, a hair's breadth deviation and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. There's other translations too. Cool, I made a connection on accident. You can see where I'm going. And then later says, this is the dilemma. Things are fundamentally, I'm hesitant to say things. You are fundamentally perfect and all-pervading. It doesn't take a lot of time to look out and go, not so sure about things being perfect and all-pervading. It seems like there's a lot of really difficult things out in the world, and that is the case. But you are perfect and all-pervading. Dogen goes on to say, well, why do we practice then? This is in the third stanza, or maybe just the second stanza. So, well, consider the Buddha. Although he was wise at birth, 6 years of his upright sitting can yet be seen. As for Bodhidharma, although he had received the mind seal, 9 years of facing a wall are celebrated still. So these teachings encourage us. These teachings say, you got this. You're huge. Brokenness is, how could that be in total completeness? And how does that relate to a sense of brokenness? Here we are in the complete as we are. And we take care of the relative within the absolute. This relative body, these relative relationships, these relative tasks. We bring our heart to them. I got some good feedback last week in talking about the 5 hindrances. Sounds like for some of you it was helpful. And maybe for some of you it wasn't, and that's okay. We're tuning to what is helpful. But in the spirit of folding in some early Buddhism, I wanted to bring some early Buddhism, which is in our tradition. In our tradition. Because many people feel like, I can understand, that things are complete and sure, I'm a part of that. And yet the sense of being separate is so very real for me. How do we begin to experience in a real way that we're not separate from the world around us? And we have these early greats in our tradition, greats throughout the tradition, and they practice hard. They practice hard. And all the while, complete. All the while. This is a great book, by the way. The Heart of the Buddhist Teaching by Thich Nhat Hanh. And this book, I got this when I was 18 years old. Not this copy. I since got rid of my copy with all my underlines and highlights, and I since feel sad about that. Would it be nice to still have that? And this book, it's funny. A good friend of mine is a very serious practitioner as well, and so he said, I met someone recently while doing residency. He's also training to be a doctor. Said, and this person is Buddhist curious, and asked, if I have a list of books that I would offer. And I was like, ooh, tell me the list of books that you offered to this person. And he proceeded to list about 15 books, which is very relatable. And this book was on that list. And this book is one that I tend to recommend for people who are interested in sort of understanding Buddhist fundamentals, and it comes through the voice of Thich Nhat Hanh, who's very warm. The practices in the Zen tradition, not in our lineage, but it comes through very warm, very clear, and it can be very beneficial. So the Buddha began with, there is suffering, there's a cause, there's an end, and here's a way in which we can live our life and find ongoing, ever-deepening relief from suffering, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. And there are two terms, craving, trishna, and grasping, upadana. Craving, trishna, grasping, upadana. And these follow feeling. So when we're sitting with ourselves and the whole world, we're sitting with ourselves, feeling arises. Pleasant sensations, unpleasant sensations, and neutral sensations. And what happens is craving arises. We crave to have more of the pleasant sensations. We crave for the unpleasant sensations to go away. We crave that the neutral sensations become a little bit more interesting. So this is our predicament. And grasping, on the other hand, upadana, is an intensification of this process. The word is sometimes translated as fuel, and trishna tends to mean grasping, clinging, but it's also in Buddhist sermons likened to a fire. So we have the fire of craving and the fuel of grasping.
Excuse me.
And these teachings, these Buddhist teachings, are things that we do. So, we practice Buddhism. I met with somebody recently who said, I kind of reluctantly, I don't know that I would call myself a Buddhist. And that's fine. We're not checking Buddhist cards at the door. So, as Daishin says very wonderfully, these Buddhist teachings can just help you be a better whatever you already are. Whatever you already are. Among which is complete. Among which is complete. And so, why am I bringing this up before talking about Song of the Jewel Mirror Samadhi? Well, clinging arises, and this is one of the ways that you can talk about it. Clinging arises, and grasping is something that we add on to it. So, in our experience, we might feel like, ooh, I really don't want this. And we can feel ourselves kind of clamping down on, ooh, I really, really don't want this. And sort of the battle begins, adding fuel to the fire. And so early Buddhist instruction helps us to get familiar with these nuances. Oh, where's the feeling here? The pleasant feeling, the neutral feeling, the unpleasant feeling. I think I said that right. Where is the feeling? And how is it that we're relating to that feeling? And when we feel ourselves clamping down, this is where we can get involved. What's it like to soften to this? What's it like to grasp a little less? And the intention of grasping less is also grasping less. Just to say, may I hold this with a little bit more levity. May I not cling to this so strongly. Can I be tender with myself? So why do I talk about this before Song of the Jewel Mirror Samadhi? The teachings tell us over and over again that we are complete. And yet we sit on our cushion and all of these things arise. And sometimes it seems so abstract. And simply by engaging in these things, by getting close to our experience, the sense of completeness begins to reveal itself. So here I am, I'm talking in dualistic terms. There's this, there's that. So hold this lightly. I'm trying to talk about it in a way that is beneficial. I'm trying to talk about this in a way that we can put this into practice and be able to see the non-dual aspects of our experience. And this doesn't have to be a huge experience. That there's something else going on here. That there's me and an object. And in what are those so-called objects arising? In what are they arising? And we can ask that question. What exactly is going on here? And we're not practicing in order to like transcend or get away from difficulty. We're getting close to it. And we're also getting close to wonder and joy. And that's the doorway. That's a doorway. We had a lazy day retreat yesterday, and it was really just wonderful. It was terrific. And part of the beauty of the lazy day retreat is it helps us to rely on sort of our natural wakefulness. So often we feel like we need to get really involved. We need to be the person who's practicing mindfulness. We need to, but there's this natural wakefulness in which we're already resting in. And that natural wakefulness, you are not it. In truth, it is you. Practice is sometimes likened to walking through a mist. We walk through a mist, and at some point, oh wow, I'm completely soaked. So, as you practice, sometimes we need faith, we need conviction. Like, I have a feeling that this is actually going somewhere. I feel convicted that this actually matters. Sometimes that helps us. But we also don't need to carry that around all the time. And if it's helpful, carry it around. So where we left off in the Song of the Jewel Mirror Samadhi, it's like a newborn child endowed with 5 aspects. No going, no coming, no arising, no abiding. Baba Wawa is anything said or not. In the end, it says nothing, for the words are not yet right. So this section I'm going to go through relatively quickly because this is a kind of a highly technical section. And I think multiple talks could be given on this section alone. So let's see here. So these 5 aspects of the child are in the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, and they're said to be the qualities of a Buddha. I worked with kids in my early 20s, and kids really have this natural Buddha-like quality. I mean, you can see it. Just at ease in the world. You can see it in animals too. At ease in the world, full of wonder, learning what all of this is. fully endowed with 5 aspects. So does the baby say anything? Baba Wawa, that's baby mumble. Does the baby say anything? Well, it says nothing. Because the baby is connected to the whole. It hasn't forgot. The baby, it seems, doesn't even know. And we're also practicing not knowing in that kind of way. And so the baby does speak, certainly, there are words. But the baby also doesn't speak. It's not a language that we can understand. In the hexagram double fire, when the main and subsidiary lines are transposed, piled up they become 3. The permutations make 5, like the taste of the 5-flavored herb, like the 5-pronged vajra. So again, I'm going to try to go through this a little bit quickly. So the hexagram double fire, this is from the I Ching, and it's this here. You can see top broken, top solid, broken line, solid line, broken line, solid line. And when doing the I Ching, whether you're using coins or yarrow sticks, you're casting them a total of 6 times to develop either a solid line or a broken line. And you start from the bottom. And the bottom one has significance and the top one has significance. And when I say bottom, the bottom 3, and the top 3. And there are a number of possibilities, and they're also limited. I want to say, and maybe Hayden can help me with this, I want to say there's 64.
Dude, the I Ching is like beyond me. That's like that fortune. Yeah, it's complicated.
So there's a certain, is it 64?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, some people know, that's great. So anyways, we come up with this particular character. And so what's interesting is the top and the bottom are the same. But also within the system of the I Ching, the top and the bottom also have opposite valences of one another. So while the top and the bottom are the same, they're also different. Which is our predicament. And there are 5 different, I want to say they're called pangrams, if I'm remembering right. Oh, good, I got another nod. Whew! Getting spot checked here. This is great, thank you. So there's a total of 5 different pangrams that would create the same situation, but this is the one from which the text is working with. So that's what's going on there. Like the 5-flavored herb, like the 5-pronged vajra. So there are 5 flavors in traditional Chinese medicine, is my understanding. And they are pungent, sweet, bitter, sour, and salty. And this particular herb is in the hyssop family, and it's considered to have all of those 5 flavors. So within the one, there is 5. Within the one, there are many. There are innumerable. It's where we're.
Star ends by chance?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But it'd be good to look up. It's only so much research that I was able to to do. But if anybody follows up on this, I'm such a nerd through and through. I'd love to hear more. And then the Vajra. Would you be willing to hold up, Benji, the bell that we use for the Jizo Sama mantra? And folks, I'm sorry at home, it'll be too much of an ordeal to turn the monitor. So, but you can look it up. So this, thank you, Benji. Thank you. So the Vajra is a ritual implement that was used in esoteric Buddhism at the time, and it has 2 of these connected together in the middle. So this just has the top of a vajra. And this is still used within Tibetan Buddhism. You'll see these implements used. And so this has a particular meaning to it as well. So also it's interesting that it was used in esoteric Buddhism that existed at the time. People sometimes practiced esoteric Buddhism, and you can kind of hear some of the magic within this particular sutra or teaching poem, I guess would be more accurate to say. And you can sort of see this in other areas of our tradition as well. And so the Vajra, let's see, where are my notes? So it has 5 prongs which connect to the 5 elements. And the center of the Vajra, so you have 4 prongs here and then a 5th in the middle. The 5th is meant to symbolize the ultimate. And the Vajra is the same on both sides. So Sangha of the Jewel Mirror Samadhi is presenting all of these images of, harmony of difference and sameness actually preceded this particular text. So, Dongshan is talking about the harmony of difference and sameness. So while it's the same, it's also different. And this is what we mean about being complete. We're the same as that which is complete, and we're different. But so often our experience is, well, I'm just different and I'm not this other thing. So our Zen practice can be a way of recalling that actually you are part of the complete, in fact. And it's something that can be seen directly. And these explicit lists of 5 are meant to talk about Dongshan's 5 rank teachings, which are 5 ways of talking about the relationship between the relative and the absolute. So 5 ways of talking about the relative and the absolute. And I'm not going to go into those. One, because I haven't studied them enough. So I don't really have the personal experience to talk about it. And how many chapters of this talk can there be? I think we know how many there can be. How many are there going to be? Yeah, through October. So we can keep on moving through this. But really, we're talking about the relationship between the absolute and the relative. And this is our life. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. We meet form fully, and sometimes we can attune to the emptiness that is there, behind it all, throughout it all, within it all. We can attune to that. Now there are sudden and gradual in which teachings and approaches arise. With teachings and approaches distinguished, each has its standard. Whether teachings and approaches are mastered or not, reality constantly flows. So sudden and gradual, this refers to our tradition. This was put in motion from Huineng, really delineated between there are sudden approaches to awakening and there are gradual approaches to awakening. And keep in mind that Mahayana Buddhism is a reaction to early Buddhism. And early Buddhism taught, there's suffering and there's enlightenment and there's a path to walk in order to attain enlightenment, awakening. And at some point in the tradition, some people felt that it needed to change. That there's a little bit too much we're getting a little bit stuck. Which is where Mahayana comes in and says, okay, all of those lists, we're going to negate those lists. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. And this is our tradition. We, as Tim Burkett, who is a student of Shunryu Suzuki, tells me that Shunryu Suzuki would tell him that we do a Theravada practice with a Mahayana attitude. A Theravada practice with a Mahayana attitude. And what does Mahayana always encourage? Mahayana, you could give multiple talks on this too, but Mahayana encourages a liberation Mahayana encourages not getting stuck. So when we find ourselves getting stuck, we can engage with, well, what's going on here? Where is the source of the stuckness? Where's the source of the stuckness? Can we look at this differently? So, Zen practice is both sudden and gradual. And sometimes we need to remember that this is a gradual process. And sometimes we need to remember that this is sudden. Sudden, not in the sense of we need a particular thing to happen to us, but the life that we have is here and now. All the way here and now. And Song of the Jewel Mirror Samadhi reminds us, whether teachings and approaches are mastered or not, reality constantly flows. So we don't have to master teachings to enjoy being within this great reality that is always flowing. Outwardly still and inwardly trembling, like tethered colts or cowering rats, the ancient sages grieved for them and offered them the Dharma. Led by their inverted views, they took black for white. When inverted thinking stops, the affirming mind naturally accords. If you want to follow on the ancient tracks, please observe the sages of the past. And this, to me, is one of the more kind of compassionate lines of Song of the Jewel Mirror Samadhi, that the sages saw, yeah, people are suffering, grieving for all of the suffering. And how can we present something that helps people to find relief? And they offered them the Dharma. So what is the Dharma? What is the Dharma for you in this moment? Seen by a sage, what might that sage offer? What might she offer? What might they present? These teachings have the ability to transform our hearts. And it's right here. Led by their inverted views. How often do we take black for white? Seeing one thing in one way and not seeing the other side. So what might it be like to conceive of our experience? You know, a lot of times, sometimes we think about practice, and sometimes practice can feel really rigid. Like there's a practice and there's a right way to do it, and there's, you know, we need to do it like so-and-so did. But what might it be like to conceive of our practice in new ways? So walking down the sidewalk with your dog, what would it be like to conceive? Like, I'm in the heart of the Buddha right now. I'm in the awakeness of the great Buddha mind. And everywhere I look, it's pervading. It's in my body. It's contacting everything I see. What would that be like? Or as we're practicing, and something challenging arises, you are not it. You are not that. I would suggest if something challenging arises, not to say it in fact is you. It might lead to more challenge. But what do we mean when we say it, in truth, is you? This whole experience is you. One on the verge of realizing the Buddha way contemplated a tree for 10 kalpas. Like a battle-scarred tiger, like a horse with shanks gone gray. Anybody else feel like that sometimes? Contemplating a tree for 1,000 kalpas. And yet, and yet, and yet. I once had a teacher say to me during a Dokusan, "Don't wait." And I was mad at him for about a year and a half. But the don't wait that this teacher was suggesting is right here, right now. Right here, right now. Because some are vulgar, jeweled tables and ornate robes. Because some are wide-eyed cats and white oxen. So what are we talking about here? These are the ways that people need different teachings. This is talking about skillful means. For some, jeweled tables, ornate robes are helpful. Because some are wide-eyed cats and white oxen. And wide-eyed also means wonder, those full of wonder. We just need a cat. Whoa, what a teacher. And white oxen, something in the here and the now. This white oxen is also a reference to the ox herding pictures. With his archer's skill, Yi hit the mark at 100 paces. But when arrowheads meet head on, how could it be a matter of skill? How could it be a matter of skill? So certainly, when we practice our zazen, we're practicing drawing the bow. We're practicing. We're becoming more skilled archers. Becoming more skilled human beings. And we show up to a situation that's challenging. And maybe one that's been historically challenging. And we're showing up again. And we're trying to do things differently. Practicing, drawing back that bow. And Yi, this particular archer, could hit the mark at 100 paces. And so when arrowheads meet head on, how could that be a matter of skill? So yes, we train in skillfulness. And we train in being open to a moment of surprise. It's just a moment. Arrowheads meeting head on. I also love the directionality of this particular image. We have so-called Yi, who is drawing back the bow, releasing the arrow. And we have another arrow that's headed toward that arrow and strikes that arrow. In the call, there is the response. There is the response. The wooden man starts to sing, the stone woman gets up dancing. It is not reached by feelings or consciousness. How could it involve deliberation? So this is talking about the aliveness of so-called non-sentient things. Stone, piece of wood starts to sing, and the stone starts to dance. But we can experience that walking through the backyard, things moving forward in such a vivid way. Ministers serve their lords, children obey their parents. Not obeying is not filial. Failure to serve is no help. So Zen comes out of a context. It was really role specific. You know, you'd have a role. Maybe you're a parent or a child or a worker or you name it. You have a specific role. And this is about performing that specific role. Which, for some people, you might hear this and be like, "Ooh, no thanks, prefer not to." So let's bring it back to something that we do understand, which is having different roles within the Zen Center. If your role today is offering incense, if your role today is being Shoten, that's your role, and you're fully showing up to that role. If your role is being Doan, using your voice in a way. And if you're not Doan, you follow the Doan. You attend to the Doan. And so what's in this for us in our life outside of here? What is our role? What is our situation? What is it that we need to be? When we're at work, can we be at work? When we're with our partner, can we be with our partner? When we're with our friends, can we be with our friends? When we're with our parent, can we be with our parent? And sometimes the discovery of these roles helps us to realize, like, actually, this is a role that I think I need to abandon. So that's okay too. So, and another way to say this is trying to be other than you are is of no help. Be yourself. Be who you are. In this relative world, in this absolute world. With practice hidden, function secretly, like a fool, like an idiot. Just to do this continuously is called the host within the host. Or you say to continue in this way. You can see that I memorized a previous version, which still trips me up. With practice hidden, function secretly. We don't need to be on display. We don't need to show off our practice. Just do our practice and function secretly. Like a fool, like an idiot. Our tradition really encourages the fool. The fool is being wise. The fool is the one who's spontaneous. The fool is the one who's free, who knows conventions and chooses to act differently. Great wisdom. Great wisdom. Just to continue in this way is called the host within the host. So guest and host. There's a host, there's a guest. This is saying we can live in a way in which we're the host within the host. To harmonize with the absolute. Be the absolute. Let the absolute come through. I think that's all I'll say. We got through it. Happy Jewel Mirror Samadhi completion day. Woo! All right. Let's see. What time is it? Okay, we got a little bit of time. Maybe just maybe time for just a comment or two. Archie.
Where does that come from? The Jewel's Mirror Samadhi.
Where does the Jewel Mirror Samadhi come from? What do you mean?
Is it like a longer text or is it like?
Oh, this is the whole thing. Yeah, it's a teaching poem. It's credited to Dongshan, who was a Chan teacher. But the historical sources say that seems maybe unlikely.
Okay.
But we still give him credit. Yeah. Please.
It's possible this one's gonna be too, or might be too long, but you
Okay.
said it's a Theravada tradition with a Mahayana attitude.
Yeah.
Can you like expand on that at all, or is that
Sure.
like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it's really helpful. I think it's really important. Yeah, so in an effort to be brief, Theravada is considered to be early Buddhism. Sometimes you hear Hinayana, but that's a little pejorative. It means lesser vehicle in a way to promote the great vehicle, which is Mahayana. So we say Theravada, which is way of the elders. And Theravada Buddhism was created all kinds of systems, all kinds of maps to help us to navigate our experience. And so, within that, we have the Four Noble Truths, we have the Noble Eightfold Path, we have the 12 dependent chain of co-origination, we have the 7 factors of enlightenment, we have, and the list goes on, And so we do practice these things in our tradition. And when we say the Heart Sutra, we're actually negating many of those early teachings. We're saying that they don't exist, that they don't actually exist. And so how do we practice Theravada with a Mahayana attitude? So it's not saying throw those teachings out, they're no good. It's saying that when we practice, and this is true of even Mahayana practices, when we practice, can we practice in a way in which we don't get caught in dualistic thinking of I'm practicing in order to, or I am suffering and one day I will be free, or there is suffering and I'm going to pick up the suffering from 2 days ago and I'm going to sit with it on the cushion and try to figure it out. So Mahayana Buddhism would come in and say, come back. It's brand new. And if that suffering from 2 days ago wants to come forward, we take good care of it. So that's what we mean about practicing with a Mahayana attitude. And the last thing that I'll say about this too is if we find that we're doing the same thing with Mahayana teachings, because it's really easy to just use words and language to just keep things moving, and sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it sort of creates an endless cycle, actually creates more sorts of proliferation of mind. So, if we find that we're doing that in our Mahayana practice, switch to something really, really simple, the here and now, cats and white oxen. How's that? Good. All right, maybe just one more brief comment and then we can end. Pam,
Someone else?
behind the monitor.
Well, you just made me think when you were talking about the wooden man starts to sing, the stone woman gets up dancing about, inanimate objects coming alive in practice. was thinking about one of the participants yesterday who afterward, he spent the day, sitting on that side of the Zendo. He was facing the shoji screen there. And he said, there came a point when I just fell in love with the soji screen. He said, I love this, feeling a real
That's such
connection with it.
Yeah, oneness with it, yeah.
yeah, such a nice comment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the I think it's David Putnam. No, it's Billy Collins. He has a poem about, going through a day and falling in love with everything. The soap when he's washing his hands. And it's funny, but it's really, it's kind of about this.
I love that. Folks at home, were you able to hear that comment pretty clearly? Oh, good. Yeah, well, let's all go find that poem and practice that. Thank you all so much.
Were you gonna do the announcements or did you want me to?
If you could do them, Pam, that'd be amazing.
Okay. Standard work practice opportunities. We still have a weekly Friday work practice from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning. We set it at that time because it worked for some people. If there's a time that works better for people, we have in the past had it like on Thursday evenings after 5. And in some ways, we set it in the morning in summer because of the weather. But if anybody's available at that time, 8 to 10 on Friday mornings after morning sitting, we do have a work practice period then. Next Sunday is our second Sunday of the month, which has now become our work practice Sunday. And that's from 8:30 to 9:30. You can come in early and do some jobs around here. Next Sunday talk, August 10th, that will be Daishin online. And then Daishin will be with us on the 17th in person that weekend. And he's leading an online study group on Thursdays from 6:30 to 7:30 is beginning this Thursday. And that's using the book Zen Ecology, Green and Engaged Living in Response to the Climate Crisis. It's by a Rinzai Zen practitioner and a professor of Buddhism. Do you know how long that goes?
I don't.
Pam, I was looking, find more information about it on Zen Fields as well as ours, and I couldn't, do you know if that book is gonna be available electronically? Because sometimes Zen Fields will do that.
I don't know.
Don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I found the PDF,
Cause it, oh, did
Oh,
you?
nice.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, because the book is like $20,
I
so.
could share the link with you.
Great.
I don't know how ethical it might be, but I don't know, it was just, I typed in the book in PDF and I found it, so.
Really?
You can
Okay.
also check, see if the library has it,
Oh, that's great.
If
Yeah.
what?
if the library has it,
Oh,
if it
But
doesn't,
this
Yeah.
probably will go for several weeks, might not
Yeah.
be able to keep it out
Mm.
like we do.
then no one else wants it, you can keep it.
Then we have the August session, that's gonna be here when Daishin is here in person, that's August 15th, 16th, and 17th. Registration is available now. We call it a 3-day session, it's kind of 2.5. It's a half day on Friday, full day on Saturday, half day on Sunday. And we already have several signups, so please consider that. You can go online and take a look at it. Jikan reminds us that he is available for practice interviews. Doka-san, anytime, you can contact him by email. And then just a reminder about Dana, that generosity is one of the perfections of qualities of Buddhist practice. And we rely on people's donations for our support and our operations. And also I encourage membership, many of you here are members. You know, that steady support really helps us going forward. Anything else? Anybody else?
We always got Wednesdays.
Oh, Wednesday evening,
Yeah, we always
yeah.
have Wednesday evenings.
Good call.
that's great. Wednesday evening from,
Wednesdays go from 6 to about 7:10 for the sit-in, read the Fukan Suzengi. And then we usually just have tea and talk afterward. It's very chill, not as many people if you want kind of more informal.
and it's a convenient time for people who are working, can't come into the morning, so.
Thanks, Pam.
May this merit extend universally to all,
Page 43 again.
so that we together with all beings realize the Buddha way.